Now there's a reason I'm doing this, and there's a reason of the pitch sizes. We have an insights team at the FA, and there's a load of data and analysis done to tell me that with moving with the ball, as a collective team, we get most repetition collectively when we play on a 40 by 25 pitch and in 7v7 format. My name is Lee Brown. I'm a Regional Coach Development Officer, and today's session is going to be on moving with the ball, which as coaches you might say would be dribbling or running with the ball. The objectives of the session are for players to figure out when is a good time to dribble the ball and when is a good time to run with the ball. From a dribbling perspective, you may start to think about getting your players to slow down as they move towards an opponent, then executing a skill. And that might be a step over or something more creative that your players come up with that they may have watched their favourite players do on YouTube. After they've executed that skill, we'll then start to think about how they can accelerate away from a defender. If your players are running with the ball, that's when you might start to think about getting them to figure out when there's some big spaces in front of them. So they're going to have to scan, and they're going to have to select some techniques, which probably would be using the laces and getting into a stride pattern so they can travel with the ball at pace to move away from defenders. But also they're going to have to think about the heaviness of their touch. So if they hit it too hard, they're not going to be able to get it back before maybe they get closed down. This is going to be a full coaching session for 1 hour on moving with the ball. However, you may see it as 3 coaching sessions because your players need a bit more time to develop. This is how it's set up. So we're going to work on the basis that we have a quarter of a pitch to train. The session will start with a 7v7 game. The one thing I'll do to make sure that it links with moving with the ball is have a little rule in place. And the rule is this: if a player manages to move with the ball between 2 opponents and score a goal, it's worth 3. And by doing that, I'm hopefully going to engage the players in trying to travel with the ball, whether that's running with it, whether that's be dribbling with it between 2 opponents before they try and score. While the players are playing their 7v7 game, that's my opportunity to set up, and I'm trying to maximise the time that the players have to move with the ball. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put 2 end zones on some mini pitches, and those end zones are going to form 2 pitches. So what we'll end up doing is playing a bigger game at the end. But the important bit is I'm now setting up in preparation for the end part, but I'm doing it while they're playing, so I'm not interrupting their playing time. Now for the practices, I'm going to set up a middle zone as well. So that's going to look a little bit like this across the pitch. And when this happens, the big goals are out of play. Now what I've got in here is now 3 end zones. I'm just going to use 1 pitch to start off with. So the first practice is unopposed. This is how it works. So every player starts off in the end zone. So these all start with the ball, and this is dead simple. All they do is they have to work from one end zone to the other with the ball, and that gets them a point. And they work all the way back again, and that's 2. Now what will happen, there may be players all over the practice. So you might get some going in this direction, you might get some coming back in the other way, but that will start to create a little bit of interference. So they're going to have to think, where is a space, when can I run with the ball, and when can I dribble the ball? The other part that we can then add into that is this middle zone. So if I really want to focus on running with the ball, this middle zone, I can say to the players, you're not allowed to touch the ball in there. So what they then have to do is they have to think about their touch to, in this part, get it through without touching it, and then get into the middle end zone, to slow down again before we come back in the opposite direction. The other part to that would be if I wanted to work on kind of closer skills, a little bit more dribbling, I can position some cones in this middle zone, and I could ask the players to perform a skill. So as this player comes up, it might be a little step over to move around the side. So this central zone can be really used to really hone in on something specifically, but the start off is an unopposed practice with some interference to develop some technical skills. So if you wanted to progress the first practice, this is an idea for you. However, it may be that you did the first practice on week 1 and this could be week 2. So here's how it works. All of the players in blue have a ball each. and the yellows are, we'll call them defenders. The blues have to get from this end zone into the other end zone exactly the same to score a point, and they do that individually. They've got to get back and it counts as 2. However, we've got these people trying to stop them. These people have a bib in their hands. For the younger players, I call it Spider-Man. But what they have to do is throw the bib on top of the ball, and that wipes their points. So if this player had got up and down 5 times, and one of the players in the middle zone who are locked in throws their bib on top of the ball, that player carries on, but their points wipe to 0. So there's no tackling, no challenging, nobody trying to win the ball back, but I'm thinking, where's the space? Do I need to dribble past the defender? Do I need to protect the ball for a moment? At what point do I try and run with the ball through? When do I dribble it through? But the purpose of this is to be an unopposed practice, lots of interference, lots of repetition of either running with the ball or dribbling the ball to develop our players' ability to figure out when do I move with the ball and how do I move with the ball. So for the third practice, or it may be week 3, your decision, this is very much opposed. So there's going to be more defending players. Same game, blues have to get from one end zone to the other to score. That counts as 1, back and forth, and you're going to get blues going back and forth. So as a coach, I'm not dictating when they go. They decide to get back and forth. Yellow players are locked into these zones here. This is what happens though. These players can now tackle. So if number 5 here wins possession of the ball from this player, they can get into this end zone and score, and that's what wipes their points. They retreat back into there. This player gets the ball and continues. But they've not just got this player to contend with, they've got to think about players in the central zone as well who are locked in. Now I've shown you this on 2 separate pitches. Bigger pitches, you're going to get more repetition of probably running with the ball because there's going to be more space. However, if you want to keep everybody on the same pitch, you may swap some players out. So we've still got lots of footballs in, lots of players, and that's completely your decision as coaches. So this is the final match of the coaching session. So if you appreciate, we played a 7v7 game at the start. We may have done 1, 2, or 3 different practices in the middle. And then the final piece, we're going to play some 3v3s or 4v4s. Now there's a reason I'm doing this, and there's a reason of the pitch sizes. We have an insights team at the FA, and there's a load of data and analysis done to tell me that with moving with the ball, as a collective team, we get most repetition collectively when we play on a 40 by 25 pitch and in 7v7 format. In terms of individual repetitions, we get more in the 3v3 format, which is going to be on a pitch which is going to be 20, because we're going to play half of that one by 25. So the reason I've gone 7 aside at the start and 3 aside is to get maximum repetitions for moving with the ball based on some data and some insights. Here's how the game at the end will work. The idea would be somewhere around 3v3, we're going to get you lots of repetition. Game is dead simple. If a player moves into the end zone and sets a teammate up who scores, the goal is worth 3. Dead easy. All I'm focusing them on is thinking about how do I move with the ball into the end zone and then try and set somebody up. So hopefully this gives you loads of ideas to support your players moving with the ball. There's loads of opportunity to practice their technique of dribbling, technique of running with the ball, but also their ability to scan and find space, but also that deception, that ability to unbalance the defender, to trick the defender so they think they're going one way and they're going to go the other way. So hopefully loads of different ideas for you as coaches to formulate 1, 2, or maybe even 3 sessions from.